Hey guys, sorry it took a little bit longer. I was finishing up the other Zoom and giving everybody instructions.
It's all good. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good, I'm good. I'm super excited for this. Awesome. How's everybody else doing on this fine Saturday morning when I made you guys all wake up?
I'm doing great. It's been a good morning so far.
Good. Awesome. Do you guys want to change your name and maybe like add your club just so that everybody else kind of knows where you're from? You can. To do that, you can just go to the right corner. There's 3 dots. Click on the 3 dots and then click on rename and you can just add your club name. Okay, I'll give it just one more minute and then we can go ahead and get started. With me presenting this forum will be Morgan Hollingsworth. She is the Divisions 4 and 6 Lieutenant Governor, so from South Texas.
Hi everyone, I'm super excited for today.
Also, if you want to, you're more than welcome to show your face. I know some of you guys might not want to do that, so no pressure, but you can definitely show your face if you want to. And then throughout, like, we'll kind of, we'll do our forum presentation, but we'll stop and kind of ask questions. And at the end, we have an interactive section for you guys. So at that point, you can unmute and talk as well. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share my screen so you guys can all see the presentation that we have. Please enjoy our safari themed presentation. Okay, do y'all see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Great. Okay, awesome. So we can go ahead and get started. Again, if you have any questions, you can feel free to stop us and ask us. Just unmute and ask. If you do not want to talk, then you can send something in the chat box. However, since I am sharing my screen, it's kind of harder for me to see the chat box. So if somebody else sees it, then please ask that question for them.
I can monitor the chat box if anyone has any questions.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Morgan. Okay, perfect. So once again, thank you guys so much for joining our forum. Let's see. Just to get a quick raise of hands, how many of you guys are presidents? Okay. Awesome, okay, good amount. And then how many of y'all are vice presidents? Okay, awesome, perfect. So here are your presenters. Oh, somebody else just came in. Okay, so once again, if you just joined, I'll introduce myself. I am Karina Patel, and I'm the district governor. And then, Morgan, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Morgan Hollingsworth. I'm Lieutenant Governor from Divisions 4 and 6 in Corpus Christi, Texas.
And I'm from Sulphur, Oklahoma, which is a really small town, so I never said the name of it, but I am from Oklahoma. So if you're from Oklahoma, boomer sooner. Let's see. Okay, so the objectives. So we're going to go over what is a president, what are the duties of a president and vice president, communication, and then tips and advice.
So the first question is, what is a president? So essentially the president is the face of your club. Your members look at you, the rest of your school looks at you, your principal and your administration looks to you as the face of Key Club. So your actions and the way that you lead others matter to your school, to your club, and to your community as a whole. And so what this means is that you have to put in the work in order to get the results that you want to see, that your community will see, because it'll really benefit you if you put in a good amount of work. And so one of the parts of being a president is being professional and presenting yourself in a way that is beneficial for the club. So by being professional, you want to introduce yourself to new people, shake hands, meet new people. Don't be too quiet. You can be quiet, but you don't want to put off a rude front. You want to be polite, and that just kind of all goes into being professional. And also, as a president, you want to inspire others. You want to inspire your volunteers at service events, volunteer your members in meetings, inspire others, because you are their leader. So you can be their motivator, and you're going to want to connect with each of your members as best you can on a more personal level, just to make, because Key Club is a family, so you want to be close with your family and connect with them. And also, whenever you're speaking to them, you want to speak with confidence and passion to show that you're really passionate about Key Club, which I know we all are. So that is essentially just a president kind of summed up.
Awesome. So according to the Key Club International, as a collective, officers obviously represent the executive board. So you are the face of your executive board as a president. You are, as officers, you guys are supposed to be deciding the goals, policies, activities, any service events, fundraising events. It is your responsibility essentially for the good fate of your club. So whatever you do really impacts your club in big ways, because you are the one in charge. You are leading them. It is your ideas that you're presenting them, and then your club's ideas that are coming to you. So you need to be willing to listen, as well as willing to teach and to give. So as president, you are obviously the chief executive officer of the club. You maintain heavy responsibility. The club's actions, doings all fall upon your shoulders. Of course, you have a great executive staff, a board that is there to assist you in all times, but at the end of the day, a lot of it does fall on you, especially making the big decisions and working with your advisor. You are responsible for presiding over your meetings, creating and maintaining agendas, creating committees. If your club is a really big club, or if it's a small club and you guys want to have like extra committees, then that is your responsibility. And just facilitating good club communication. It's really important that you guys are pretty outgoing and you are there to reach out to your clubs in case, or to your members in case they need anything, to keep them informed of everything that goes on. Obviously, every single member can't make every single meeting, so that is your responsibility to kind of work with them and catch them up. And lastly, you determine the direction of your club, and that's in the simplest words. So really, it falls on your shoulders and it's really in your hands. So it's really important that all the decisions you make, you really look at each decision in a whole perspective and try to, figure out the pros and the cons to whatever you're choosing to do so.
So as a president, you are the chairperson of your meetings, and as Karina said, you will be presiding over all of your club meetings. In the case that you're not there, your vice president will. So a couple of tips to lead meetings is to make an agenda in advance. And this is really helpful, especially if you're more of a nervous public speaker, because this will give you kind of a guide to help lead the meeting. So if you forget something, you can just look at your agenda and you can get right back up to speed. You're going to want to be well informed on whatever you're talking about. So whatever topics are on your agenda, either you can speak about them or you can let one of your other board members or faculty advisors speak about it if you think they're more qualified to speak about it. Guest speakers are always welcome. This can include district staff, lieutenant governors. Your sponsoring Kiwanis members are also really great to have at meetings, and any other K family members. And you can follow parliamentary procedure using Robert's Rules of Order. Some clubs use this and some clubs don't. It's just kind of dependent upon your club. But there is a parliamentary procedure form after this one if you'd like to learn a bit more about that one. And also allow a question period, because some members might have questions that they need to have an opportunity to ask. You're going to want to speak clearly, loudly, and concisely so everybody can hear you, so there's no miscommunication or anything like that. And then it's also fun to have a little activity afterwards, after you're done with all of your business, just to kind of entertain the members, to keep them keep them happy. So you can do an icebreaker, an energizer, anything like that.
Okay, so now we're going to go over your weekly duties. So your weekly duties are basically planning your meetings, setting a location, time, and creating an agenda. So right now, I know a lot of clubs are meeting virtually. Raise your hand if your club is currently meeting virtually. Yes, okay, yeah. So with that being said, location obviously is probably going to be some sort of online platform like Zoom. I know a lot of clubs are using Zoom, some are using WebEx, Google Hangouts. It's not as flexible, but I know a lot of clubs still do use Google Hangouts, especially just because it allows a lot more people. And then obviously you just set a time and then create an agenda. Treat it like an official meeting, like you would have one in person. I know it's different. I know it's not quite as the same, but try to normalize it as much as you can. Have a, still continue to have your board meetings with your executive board, and then also general club meetings. This kind of varies. Some clubs like to meet every single week. Some clubs like to meet every 2 weeks, and some clubs meet only once a week. So that's totally up to you and your board and your advisor. I know, I think it's really good if you guys meet like probably every 2 weeks at least. My club meets every 2 weeks, and I think we can still get a lot done. So you don't have to meet every week, but try to meet frequently. And then check up on your officers. You know, you need to hold your officers accountable. I know a lot of presidents, you know, throughout this term have reached out to me just asking me like, you know, what to do if they have an officer that is not willing to do their job and step up. Well, it's not your responsibility to cover up their work. You should not be having to do that. And what I always tell them is, first of all, talk to the officer. Don't just assume that they're lazy or they just don't care, because sometimes there could be other situations that are going on. So always, always take that first step, talk to them, tell them the concerns that you have with their actions and their inability to do their work, and how that's kind of affecting you and putting more stress on you. You know, it doesn't have to be like anything mean. It can be pretty just kind of calm, you know, just talk to them, get your point across. And if that doesn't work, then probably talk to your faculty advisor before taking any decision, and then together you guys can kind of figure out a plan to either remove them or find a replacement, give them a warning, something to that extent. I know a lot of times you're in this position and you're super excited about everything, but everybody's not always as excited as you are. And that can be hard. It can be hard to work with, but it's just really important that you continue on and you push through and you try to find ways to solve those type of issues. And sometimes you do have to make the hard decisions. You know, you might have to remove a officer on your board, and that's not going to be easy, but that kind of comes with being the president and being in charge. You have to sometimes make those hard decisions. Then you need to lead the membership, obviously, in a well-rounded program. So you need to come up with different activities and projects and fundraising events throughout the year to kind of engage all of your members and keep them hooked in. I know, again, this year it's going to be harder to come across activities and projects for your clubs, but nevertheless, there's still many, many things that you guys can be doing. In fact, we have a forum, the second round, called Service Opportunities. So I highly encourage you guys, if your club is struggling to come up with any service activities, to go to that. Or like there's a fundraising one, so if you guys are trying to raise money, go to the fundraising one. And then we also have the maneuvering through COVID. So you can go to that one as well, and they will also offer you guys lots of tips and advice. It's led by our chair for our COVID Task Force Committee. So go to there and try to learn more about like how you as a president can kind of maneuver through COVID and the things that you can still do, because there are a lot of things that you can still participate in. Lastly, you need to make sure that delinquent members are handled properly. Obviously, you need to like work with your treasurer and make sure like everybody's paying their dues. That's also been a big issue this year, is getting how to get members to pay their dues, because obviously a lot of you guys aren't even meeting in person. How many of you guys are virtual schooling right now? Okay, yeah. So exactly, and that makes it a little bit harder, obviously, to raise or to get that money. We have suggested things like Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. So just using a lot of these online platforms. You can also like create a place where one day, like, you know, members can just drive in and drop off the money. Maybe like it's at a coffee shop and you just want to stay at the coffee shop and people just drive in, drop off the money, so there's not that much contact. Do whatever is best for you, whatever you feel comfortable with as well. You know, don't put yourself in risk or others. Just kind of, you know, be willing to be flexible with that. Any questions so far?
No, thank you.
What's up? Okay. Wait.
So going on with your weekly duties, one thing that you're going to want to do is meet with your faculty advisor frequently to discuss what you're going to talk about at your next meeting and plan your agenda, and also any club issues that either of y'all are seeing. Now, y'all can do this in person. I know a lot of presidents that can either like text on remind or email, like some sort of internet communication, but you can also meet with them in person. And any issues y'all are seeing, you can discuss and you can figure out a solution for it. Like if somebody's not paying their dues or if there's like misbehavior or anything like that in the club. And another really important thing is attending your sponsoring Kiwanis meetings. You can attend any Kiwanis meeting if you're invited, but it's really important to keep a bond with your sponsoring Kiwanis club, because they chose to help y'all out and they want to be close with you. The Kiwanis members love Key Club members. So if a couple of y'all's members are going to Kiwanis meetings, they're going to notice that and they're going to be really grateful for that. So you can go to as many meetings as you can and with as many members as you would like. And Kiwanis meetings are fun too. The adults are super nice, and I know it can be kind of scary if you've never been before, but they are a really fun time to go to. Another thing is committee assignments and responsibilities. You want to make sure to check in on your committees and see how they're doing, what type of work they're doing. Some examples of committees. I know committees are typically something for a larger club to do. So a lot of times they'll do public relations committees that publicize events in their school or on social media and just maintain that. And some have membership recruitment committees to encourage more people to join Key Club at their school, just things like that. Then another thing you're gonna do is keep a file of all of your correspondence. This is really important, especially if you're applying for the presidential awards that we'll talk about later. You'll need to keep your correspondence, but it's also good to just have a record of all of your emails, your texts, any sort of internet communication you'll want to keep track of.
Yes. Monthly duties. So on a monthly basis, you need to be holding events like socials. A lot of clubs try to do at least like a monthly service project. I know my club does. So maybe trying to come up with a service project that you guys can do, whether it be virtually or, you know, in person, social distanced. Socials are a really fun way to kind of just keep everybody engaged in your club. There's a lot of fun social ideas. Some of them that I think are really good are like, like Netflix partying with your members. I think that's really fun. You guys can watch a movie together at your own homes and still be kind of together in a sense. But there's a lot of ideas. Try to be creative. This is your year. It's really important to, take the initiative and try to find different ideas to come up with and, ask your members what they would like to see. You don't have to do everything on your own. Ask your board. Try to get as many ideas as you can and implement various ones. Some of them might fail. Some of them might succeed, but you don't know until you try it. So don't be afraid to try new ideas because oftentimes some of the craziest ideas turn out to be the most successful. Second thing, you need to be recruiting members. Right now is definitely the recruitment period stage with school starting and stuff like that. I know this year recruitment was much, much more difficult. A lot of clubs didn't even have recruitment because they weren't in person, so it's kind of hard to recruit. But still be promoting Key Club through your social medias. I know a lot of us have social medias, at least one type of social media, whether it be Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. Reach out on those outlets to other people, be promoting Key Club, be promoting not just like the core values and what Key Club is, but also the things that you guys do, try to make Key Club fun for everyone because fun is where they join. Everybody wants service, but that's not in the long run going to keep them. It's the having fun while doing service and while helping out their schools and their community that's going to keep them in. So try your best to promote on your own social medias. If you have a social media platform for your club, then be promoting on that. It's really important to get that engagement on social media because obviously a lot of us are on social media, so we can kind of, somehow through one outlet or the other, we can get that information and they can be like, oh, this is interesting, I want to join, and then, have your contact information right there so that they can directly, reach out to you and, see what they need to do to join. Check on your secretaries and editors, again, to make sure, are they doing their jobs? Are they turning in their monthly reports to the district secretary? Are they turning in their newsletters and articles to the district editor? It's your responsibility to just, make sure that they're doing it. It is not your responsibility to be doing the reports and the newsletters. That falls under their respective positions. However, just remind them every once in a while, hey, how's this process going? Do you need any help with anything? Do you have any questions? Just always try to be that friendly face for your officers so that they can come to you with any questions. Hold at least one social service project and meeting per month. That's not required again, but to be efficient, to have a good club running, try to do at least one of either of those or one of each. And then address any and all issues. Throughout the year, your members are going to come to you if they have ideas, but they're also going to come to you if they have issues, and those issues could be issues with other officers or issues with other people in the club, like members. We're all teenagers. Everybody goes through those periods of time when they're just, not really feeling everything and they can get upset. So it's really important that you listen to them and are friendly and kind and considerate of what they're telling you. Don't laugh at them. Don't make fun of them. Just take it in. Don't judge them. They might be having some personal issues going on, and to which they might say, hey, I just really need to step away from Key Club for a month or whatever, and be considerate of that and try to help them if you can. And if not, just reassure them that you are there for them. Especially right now with COVID, there's a lot going on. So it's really important that you are there supporting your club members. And then have goals. Without goals, there is nothing to accomplish. So try to have goals. Maybe your club wants to be a top 25 club, which is a great honor. And that can only be done through your secretary submitting reports and you guys doing a lot of activities and service and socials and stuff like that. And that's how you guys get more points. So if that's a goal that you want to do, then try to make a journey of how you're going to reach that goal. make a path to follow. Or say your club just wants to have more service projects this year in comparison to last year, you know, like say you had 5 last year and this year you want to have 10, then plan out how are you going to have 10 by the end of the year. Just set a goal and figure out a path that leads you to your goals. And then lastly, organize and participate in inner clubs. So inner clubs are like meetings that you have with different key clubs, different K family clubs. Like for example, say you organize a meeting with your Kiwanis and you went and talked to them, or you just sat in on their meeting. You know, all of those things can happen virtually as well. So try to be engaged with other key clubs in your division, with other K family clubs, you know, really your Kiwanis and Builders Club and K Kids if you have those. Just reach out to them and see if you can help them in any way. You know, those are some really great outlets to get service projects. Kiwanians always have things going on, so if you guys are looking for service projects, go to them and reach out to them and see.
So now we're going to get into our yearly duties. And before we do that, we had a couple comments in the chat. Somebody asked, is correspondence basically all the communication we had over the year? The answer is yes. Your correspondence is however you're communicating with your members, either one-on-one or like a mass text or anything like that, with your faculty advisor, your school administration, your lieutenant governor, your Kiwanis members, basically anybody that you're talking to as a president for Key Club is your correspondence. Somebody said that Mansfield Frontier is having a social today, so that's very exciting. I hope you'll have a great time. And another question is, what if Kiwanis meetings are not happening? Karina, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so again, if Kiwanis meetings aren't happening, there's really nothing you can do. Unfortunately, you know, just kind of wait until they do start having meetings. Just still maintain communication with them, because although they might not be having meetings, there might be things that they're still doing, you know, just like individually or whatever. So, and even if you can't help them out, a lot of times they're still going to be willing to help you guys out. So if you're trying to plan events, or if you're trying to get some Kiwanians to come speak or whatever, you know, even virtually, like that's still a great outlet to have and to know that they're there for you. So still be in contact with your Kiwanians even if you can't attend their meetings.
And another question, oh, we got a couple more questions. Is LEDCon happening in person or virtual this year? Karina.
Yes, so we don't know. We are hoping for the best that we can have it in person. We are planning for both. It's really, really difficult to tell right now. Obviously, our decon is not until April, but we want to have it in person. However, we have to take the safety of all of our key clubbers into consideration, and that is a mass gathering. So there's going to be a lot that we have to look at. So right now, we are planning for both. We are hoping for the best, but all we can do is just wait until it gets closer.
And another question, how much proof is needed to show that there was strong communication? So communication, the proof is something you're really going to need if you're applying for the presidential or vice presidential awards. And for that, we recommend, that's an online award, so we recommend screenshotting any communication you have and attaching them. You can attach, I'm pretty sure it's an unlimited amount of attachments for that section, just to show anything and everything you were talking about regarding Key Club. So now into our yearly duties. Oh, are there more questions? When should we start applying? These applications, they will be open in the next couple of months. I believe in January is whenever you can start applying for those. So be on the lookout for those. They'll definitely be all over our social medias whenever our contests start getting announced more frequently. So are there any more questions? Y'all can just leave them in the chat and we'll answer them. So now we're going to get into our yearly duties. The big one, obviously the fun one, is attending district convention. This is a really great time. It's a few days. You can go to Dallas and you have a great time, and you can be recognized for your hard work in your clubs. You attend forums, you listen to speakers, we do service projects, and most importantly, you can hang out with Key Club members from all over Texas and Oklahoma, and it is so fun to meet them. and you can really build bonds with people that you would have never met otherwise. And something else that the president is responsible for is the annual achievement report, which is found on our TO website. And this is, excuse me, this is basically an overview of your entire year where you just explain kind of everything that happened to you that year and how your club did, how many meetings you had, things of that nature. And that needs to be submitted in April. And then another duty that you should do frequently throughout the year is attend your PCMs and DCMs and other divisional events that your lieutenant governor arranges. So this is also why it's very important to be close with your lieutenant governor, because they are a resource to you, and the events and the meetings that they plan are a resource for you where they can provide you information and guidance, and they can also just be a friend to you. So if you're able to attend their PCMs and DCMs, which now are pretty much entirely online, that's a really great thing to go to that's full of information that can help you lead your club. And it's also with other presidents. If you're going to a PCM, that's with other board members who are in your exact same position at a different school. So it can also be good to get input from them about any questions you have as well. And again, meet with your Kiwanis clubs a couple times a week, as frequently as you can, really, or not 2 times a week, 2 times during your year. It's really important to maintain communication with them. And you'll want to work with your treasurer to draft a budget, which obviously has to be approved by your faculty advisor and any other administration that your school requires. And that will be really important to guide you throughout the year to kind of see where you're spending your money. And pay dues, update those through the MUC. Again, Karina explained earlier how it's a little different this year, but we really encourage y'all to pay your dues as soon as possible. Updating your club officer contact information with your lieutenant governors. This is very, very important. Lieutenant governors are required to get this information because Key Club International requires this information just so they kind of know who's leading all of their clubs, because obviously there are thousands and thousands of clubs and they need to know who's leading each of them. So as soon as you elect your officers each year, obviously y'all have already been elected. You're going to want to let your lieutenant governor know all of the officers' name, email, and phone number that they can be reached with. And another thing you can do each year is have an officer installation and a retirement ceremony to recognize them, to celebrate them, and to also build bonds within your club is also a really nice opportunity for a social event.
Yeah, somebody just asked in the chat how you can get access to your MUC. So your club advisor actually has access to your MUC, and they have a password and an email to like log into. So ask your club advisor, and if they like forgot something, then there is a number that they call. I think it's 1-800-KIWANIS, but if you need help with accessing your MUC, you can email our district treasurer at treasurer@tokeyclub.org, and they'll be able to answer any of your questions. And .com, not org, sorry. And they'll be able to help you with that. Yeah.
This is actually, this is Bailey Brooks from Mansfield Frontier.
Mm-hmm. We
have a new advisor. Our last advisor kind of just dipped on us and took all the information with them. So would this process still apply, or would we have to make like a new account?
No, so the process will still be the same. They will have to change their password. So you will have to call that number and they'll be able to easily change your password. So this applies to any new advisors that have come in. Just change your password and it'll still work the same for you. And like whenever you log in, it'll have like all of your old seniors information. You'll be able to like kick those seniors off and then add in any of your new members and pay for them.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Somebody asked, Abigail asked, by dues that update throughout the year, what does that mean? Can someone become a member in, say, January? So yes, you can become a member anytime you want as long as you pay their dues. So for example, say a member did join in January, then you would have them obviously still pay their dues, and you would have to go to the MUC and update the MUC and pay their dues through that. So you can do that. Some clubs are against that. They don't want that because they just believe like if you're joining in the middle of the year, then like that's no point. But then some clubs are like, you know, like, come on in, like, it's fine. So that's totally up to your club, but you can do that.
Question.
Yes.
Marissa Rios from Latin High Key Club president. What is a MUC?
So the MUC is the Membership Update Center. That is where your advisor pays for the dues. Your advisor and your treasurer are probably familiar with that. If they attended the treasurer's forum, I know Roger's going to go over the MUC and how to update it. So through the MUC, they also are going to, like, you're going to put in their name, their address. You have to, like, fill out some basic information for each of your members, and then you have to, like, that's how we get a count of our members in our district. So right now we have over 15,000 members. So that's how we can be accountable for your members that are in your club. So it's really important that each club fills out their MUC and pays their dues. And then that's how you also get your Key Club pin and membership card. So make sure that your club advisor is updating the MUC, and the only way that you can pay dues is to update it. So.
Okay, thank you.
GCM Key Club Unch asks, so yes, I do believe that they will still receive their Key Club pin and membership card even if they join like later in the year, as long as they pay their dues, because your dues kind of give you that first year pin and card. And again, like, that's only available for first year Key Clubbers. Somebody just asked, how do you get your pin and membership card? Do you have to order it? We paid their dues, but they didn't get them. So the membership card and the pin is only available to first year Key Clubbers. So you'll only get it once. And the way you get it is through filling out the MUC and turning in your dues. And they have a database that they will check to see if it's a first year member, or like if you've been a previous member, and if it is a first year member, then you will get it. If you haven't gotten it, then I would contact Key Club International and figure out what's going on with that. But again, you'll only get it for new members. So like, check to see if your new members got it or not last year, and go from there. What's the due date for ordering pins and cards? So again, there is no due date for ordering the pins and the cards. That is, as soon as you pay your dues, they'll send you that free of charge. They'll send you those pins and the cards. Y'all are asking great questions. Any other questions? No? Okay, so we'll continue on. Okay, communication. So communication is really important. You obviously want to maintain communication with your clubs. You can use programs like GroupMe, Remind, 101. There is also another app called the Band app. I know some people use that. So you can use various platforms to communicate with them. You need to create a schedule of all the club events. If there are events that you have like on an annual basis, maybe just come with a list of them and have that so that your members can mark their calendars down and have those deadlines and dates. Give your members as much far advance notice about any event. For example, even meetings, I would say give them at least 2 weeks of notice, or you can set like a scheduled meeting date. So for my home club, we do like meetings every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, and that doesn't change regardless, you know, unless we happen to not have a school on Tuesday, but that's very rare. Then we just don't have a meeting that week. But other than that, we always stick to that schedule. So maybe you want to try implementing a schedule like that. And then send out consistent reminders, but don't overload them. You know, you don't have to send something out every single day 2 weeks in advance, right? You know, send them something 2 weeks in advance, maybe like a week in advance, 5 days in advance, and then like, you know, 3, 2, 1 or 2, 1. Just try to send them consistent reminders so that they don't forget. We have a lot going on in life as teenagers, as high schoolers, so sometimes it's easy to forget. So just remind them, but don't be overwhelming. And then try to be everyone's friend. You know, as a president, you are the one in charge. But it's really important that you're still going to communicate and be friendly to your members. They should feel very comfortable in coming to talk to you about any issue, not just Key Club. So just always have a friendly face on when you're communicating with your members and officers. On the district level, you'll need to have an open line communication with your sponsoring Kiwanis clubs, your lieutenant governor. If you do not know your lieutenant governor, please ask me and I will tell you. It's going to be, there's always going to be one. There's only a few divisions this year that are vacant, so most of you guys should have a lieutenant governor. Your regional advisor, he or she is in charge of communicating with the lieutenant governors to facilitate with anything. However, if you guys have questions for your regional, you can also reach out to them. Their email is just going to be region at whatever region you are. So say you're in region 12, then it would be region12@tokeyclub.com. And then your district staff and advisors. So as presidents and vice presidents, you'll most likely be communicating with me, but like your secretaries would be communicating with the district secretary and so on. But this includes like replying to your emails, texts, and calls. Remember that they're not contacting you just because they want to have a chat with you, but oftentimes they really have something important to tell you, just some information to relate to you. So be respectful of their time and respond to them in a timely manner. I would say 24 hours, texts and calls especially, but even emails, honestly, 24 hours is the golden rule. Be responding to them in 24 hours.
So we only have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to try and get through this a little bit quicker. For as far as public speaking goes, we have some do's and don'ts for you. You're going to want to be confident in what you're saying, and if that means you need to plan out a little something in advance just so you kind of know what you're going to be talking about, do that, whatever works for you. You're going to want to maintain eye contact and not be looking around the room, looking at your feet, looking at a paper, reading off of the paper. You want to have appropriate gestures. You don't want to talk with your hands too much, but you can, make a couple gestures here and there. Providing rhetorical questions for your audience can also be a little interactive so they don't get too bored. And you can tailor the way you speak to your audience. So if you're talking to Kiwanis members, and you're going to want to be a little bit more professional then. If you're talking to like elementary kids, you're going to want to say it in a way that they'll understand. And if you're talking to your friends, you can talk a little more casually, just depending on the situation. And as far as don'ts, you're not going to want to read off the screen and just never look at your audience. You don't want to turn away from your audience or have bad posture, especially if you're in person. You want to stand straight and tall. You want to give off a professional front, and try not to make nervous gestures. I know a lot of us are a little nervous to speak in public, but you don't want to fidget too much or pace or anything like that. And you're also going to want to talk at a reasonable volume and not too quickly or slowly.
Okay, tips and advice. So just for some general tips for meetings, keep your agendas pretty clear and pretty straightforward. It just helps your board members know what to speak or when to speak. So speak loud, speak clear, have an organized agenda. And if you don't want to talk the entire time, you can have your board members kind of cover up some things on your meeting agenda that they are well familiar with. So you don't have to talk the entire time. If that's something that makes you nervous or it's just a lot to go through, then give that responsibility to one of your board members. Make sure your meetings are announced beforehand. Again, 2 weeks of advance notice is great. Go over any general announcements that you have during your meetings. Any upcoming events coming up. Usually meetings are about an hour long, sometimes a little less depending on when you do them, like 30 minutes to an hour. So you have a pretty good range. I would always try to include an activity at your meetings if you can, if you have the time for it, just to also foster connections between your members. Obviously, it's kind of harder right now because you're not in person, but you can still do things virtually. And then if you have any special guests, like your lieutenant governors that are required to visit your club at least once a year, then recognize them, or any Kiwanians or just anybody special that has come to visit and be a guest at your meeting.
We do have a question. Could you please share this presentation? So we will be posting this training on our YouTube, and I believe it will be emailed, Karina, if that's correct. I think we will be able to know it.
Yeah, so we can share the presentation with you, but this whole training will be posted. So I've been recording it, so it'll be found on our YouTube channel. So if you have questions, you can always go on there. And then if you want it to be emailed to you, if you will just drop your email in the chat box and we'll take it, or you can email me your email and then I will get this presentation to you.
And then another question, is our advisor supposed to be in all our officer meetings? Your faculty advisors should be at all of your club meetings. Your officers usually do meet with your advisors, but I don't think it's necessarily not allowed. It's just kind of whatever works for you and your club. So as far as making an agenda, I know some of us have never made an agenda before, and that's completely okay. It's really not too hard. You don't want to overthink it or anything like that, but you are going to want to prepare it in advance so you are sure that you're covering all the topics you need to. And you'll want to collaborate with your faculty advisors and your other officers or members if they have any questions or topics they need to tell the club about. And you're going to want to identify who's going to be leading each part of the meeting and prioritize your agenda points by importance. You want to get the big important things out of the way first so you don't run out of time. And you want to, going along that, give an appropriate amount of time for each of your topics so you don't run out of time or spend too long on something that's not very important. And if you're able to, share your agenda with members before the meeting just so they kind of know what they're getting into before they go in. And then allow for a question period and then let members know whenever their next meeting is.
How to plan service events. So, you know, first of all, find a service need that's in your community. You always want to kind of reach out to your community and see what needs to happen, what they need to be done. And then reach out to organizations in your school and your community that can help facilitate with that service need. There are a lot of clubs like, you know, Student Council, FCCLA, that are service organizations as well, you know, that do try to help out their schools and their communities. So reach out to them and see if they would be willing to partner with you, and so you have double the manpower to go do whatever you need to do. If there are any things that you need to have in advance, like, you know, prepare for them, bring them with you. For example, if you're painting the walkways, then have the paint ready or whatever. And, you know, establish whatever the date and the time is and distribute that information to all of your members so that they are well aware of what time that they need to be at the event and the location. And then make sure that as a leader, you are there. You know, I know you can't make every single event, but just try your best to be the leader and always be there for your clubs and be a good example.
So a couple of final tips. Obviously, you're going to want to avoid cliques. That never really ends well, and especially in Key Club, we want to be inclusive for everybody. So just try to not form little groups or anything like that and include everybody in the K family. And also, you're going to want to always speak confidently, but you're never going to want to overpower any of your officers or members or your advisors. Obviously, you are the president, you are the head of the club, but you do have to respect everyone else. And you don't want to favor certain opinions or certain people just because you're friends with them and whatnot. And also, you're going to want to make sure that you maintain strong connections with your members and that they're comfortable with you coming to you for anything Key Club related or not, really. And also Kiwanians are also a great resource to reach out to, and they're always here for you. That's their job. They're always supposed to keep in contact with Key Club members. And again, this goes for the whole K family. Every single branch is always wanting to talk to Key Clubbers, especially the clubs in their area.
Yes. So these are the contests and awards. I'll kind of quickly go over this just because we're running out of time, but you can check out our code for contests and awards found on our district website, which is www.tokeyclub.org, and you'll be able to find this information there. But there are two awards, the Art Swamberg Outstanding Club President Award, which is a job form that you fill out based off of like all the duties that you've done. You fill out all the duties. It's just a job form with questions asking you about the meetings that you've had, service hours, communication, K-family interactions, explanation, references. And last year we did change. Actually, Morgan was on the committee, and this year she is the chair for contests and awards. So if you have any questions, we're going to leave our email. You can reach out to her for any contests and awards questions for your club as it nears DCON. And if you have any questions about these awards, then she'll be more than happy to answer. And Morgan is a very sweet person, so don't worry, don't be scared of her. And then we have one called the Outstanding Club Vice President for the Vice Presidents. And again, it's the same thing, it's just based off of what the Vice President does. So obviously we did combine these forums, or the Vice President and the President, because the Vice President is in charge whenever the President isn't there. So a lot of the duties fall upon the Vice President. They're the same thing. Some Vice Presidents are in charge of doing things like being over committees, or, you know, taking care of like different events and stuff like that. So that's really depends on your club as a whole. But as a vice president, you should always be there for your president, always back them up as long as they're in the right, you know. But always be understanding of your clubs. You know, sometimes you can offer like a different side to a matter to your president, you know. Sometimes they might not just get your side or get somebody else's viewpoint, so you can offer yours and share that with them. Lastly, so this year I created a TO district remind. So on this remind, I just send out like updates. If I send out my updates, then I'll send that out on here, or like reminders. Like I sent out a reminder last night about our training. So if you want to right now, text 81010 at TO district and join our remind. I'll give you guys just a few seconds to do that. Again, 81010 at TO district. Lastly, I want to leave this quote with you guys. It's one of my favorite quotes, especially in terms of service. It's something that I fall back to a lot whenever I'm just having a hard time. There's a lot going on, a lot of responsibilities. But it's by Mahatma Gandhi, and it goes, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." And I think as Key Clubbers, we all relate to this very well. So, you know, there are going to be hard times, you know, with other schools, academics, other extracurriculars, but just remember that while you're doing this, always, always, always try to find the why behind what you are doing. Being a president comes with a lot of responsibility. Being a vice president comes with a lot of responsibility, but I know you guys can do it. You guys seem to be a great group of individuals, and I know beyond Key Club, y'all are going to do great things. So have confidence in yourself. Don't let people walk over you, and believe in your leadership. That is the most important thing to do, is believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else will. So with that being said, that is our forum. We hope you guys learned a lot. I know there's some questions in the chat box. Let's see. These are our emails, so if you guys ever have any questions, my email is on the top, and then Morgan's email is on the bottom. You can ask us anything. Morgan, can you actually pull up the chat box? It won't let me pull it up.
The chat box is just people's emails. We're going to send these presentations to you. If you want to drop your email in there, feel free to do so, and we'll be sure to get those to you. But thank y'all so much for coming. I know we ran a little over schedule, but thank you guys for coming.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Awesome. You guys can go to your second forum now. Again, the Zoom codes are on the agenda, and I can drop the agenda in the chat one more time for everybody. But thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you guys learned a lot, and I wish you guys all the best. You can do it. Bye.